I mentioned earlier the fact that creditors love us, because we are stepping into that gap. It is solid communications with creditors, someone to pick up the phone who's got an accurate assessment of what's going on. And what that credibility does is, as you said, it gives us the ability to do negotiate repayment plans at reduced rates. I was just talking to a client, I think he's going to share with you soon. He was saying $7,000 was the saving on his debt, and why creditors want that is they know that it's cash in the bank now, and they know that they're recouping that, and the impact that has for the journey that a client's on in terms of what goes into their day-to-day expenses of food, of power, of accommodation, and enabling their journey to debt-free to be quicker whilst still having the dignity of repaying that across that time.
And when we talk about this program as well, by the way, we've said this a number of times today, your $1.50 a day isn't money that's going towards paying off the debt for the person.
That's right.
It's to provide the services and the support that they need to really take ownership. And I mean, I love that so much because these people feel so incredibly disempowered. And I mean, I know that so many of the other challenges we even face in our society actually come from people feeling at the bottom, right? It affects health, it affects mental health, families breaking up, children going hungry, all these kind of things. It sounds like so many different things that we're fighting, but often poverty is that one really malignant strand that's tying all this stuff together.
Yeah, finances is through everything, right? In our society, we've been talking about that a bit this morning. It is across every aspect of what we do, of who we are, whether that's in a sense of a lack of finances or a lot of finances. And so when we address finances, it's that opportunity to address, we've talked of mental health, parenting, the food, the nutrition, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, the capacity to engage relationally, the capacity to think beyond survival mode.
And that's an important thing, by the way, as well. It's not just a financial service. It is connected to the local church, an actual face-to-face representative who meets with people, provides that spiritual encouragement. And as you've heard from so many of the testimonies we've played today, people whose faith is either rediscovered or maybe begins for the first time. Yeah,
a huge part of what we do, celebrating people who say yes to a relationship with Jesus and making sure that opportunity is presented. I think you were talking about Luke 4 before around releasing the captives, and I love that scripture in the way that it ends with proclaiming good news. And so in what CAP in partnership with churches exist for is to see that love of Christ demonstrated practically, but also people introduced to the spiritual hope and have that opportunity.
Tell us about your story, mate. Where were you at the point of reaching out to Christians Against Poverty?
We were basically... We had one of our biggest creditors were sitting telling us that we needed to pay them back all of their money this week.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So when CAP got involved, one of the things we were just talking about with Sam, the CEO from CAP, was how sometimes CAP are able to organise something called like a full and final, which can not only help you pay off your debts, but also write some of it off the ledger as well, which sounds incredible. And that happened for you.
Yeah. We when we got our budget at the start, we were told it would take a year from start to finish to get everything paid off. And with kind of 2 months ago, we had a chat with our team at CAP, and they said that they could do a full and final payment, or at least put a full and final payment forward to one of the big creditors and see if they agree with it. And we were blessed that they accepted it and took 2 months worth of payment.
Oh. So this was now $6,000 to $7,000 that you didn't have to take out of your own budgets that you could put towards again looking after the kids, buying new shoes, whatever it might be.
Just getting back to normal, just getting back to being able to live.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. So, Alan, how did you discover CAP in the first place?
My wife was through the churches she goes to. She'd heard about it, and we also have friends up north, up in Whangarei, that are CAP coaches. When we were up, we spoke to them about where we were financially, and kind of they were able to say, look, just talk to CAP and get in touch with people. They know a lot more than we do when it comes to dealing with creditors, and that's the part that Joe Soap just we don't have that relationship with these creditors, that they can go in and just kind of frankly talk to them and put, our place forward to them and represent us in the best possible way that can be represented. Whereas for us, we were just kind of answering whoever shouted.
Oh, of course.
Just, if somebody rang and, we were brave enough to answer the phone. At times we didn't, if somebody rang and demanded, we'd just kind of go, okay, well then we're going to pay this guy and we're not going to pay that guy.
Right.
And then all that's doing is just burying us further and further, because then we got to wait for the next call from the next guy and then kind of jump around the place. So for me personally, when we started with CAP, it was kind of like I really needed to know like where all that money was going and how it was being paid and who's getting what and when. And it was Delwyn that kind of turned around to me and just said, look, it doesn't matter. And CAP have sorted all of that, and they've spoke to all the creditors, they spoke to everyone that we owe money to, and it's all agreed on that timeline from when you start to when you finish. And once I got that into my head, it's just everything just kind of changed and just kind of.
If you were listening earlier on, I rang the number because every time I talk about this, it puts a smile on my face. I think it's just the best thing I've ever heard in New Zealand when it comes to. No, seriously, when it comes to getting the gospel into people's homes but genuinely, tangibly helping them, this is it for me. Is that the same story for you? Would it put a smile on your face to phone 0508 003 003? Would it put a smile on your face to go to rhema.co.nz, click on that banner, and support people like Alan? And Alan, again, thank you for sharing your story with us today.
No worries.